Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster and I thought I'd do another quick knife review for you today. And the knife I want to talk about is this. This is the Cold Steel Finwolf. It's a little locking folder and I actually picked this up second hand off of a web forum. Cost me about £20. I think they should cost between 40 and 50 depending where you go. And I actually really like this knife. So it's got a Scandinavian grind on there, which, as I'm sure you know by now, I really do favour. And there are a real shortage of Scandinavian grind folders out there on the market. Now it's got a plastic handle. I will throw the specs up of the size and dimensions, and hope as long as I can find out what it is, what the handle material is. Nice little belt clip on there, double-sided thumb stud, and a little lock on the back there. Now, as far as this knife goes, it's fairly light. The handle is really comfortable. It feels really nice in the hand. And really, what sold me on this knife, having now used it, is just how sharp you can get it. If I just take a little piece of offcut here, and I'll bring it closer to the camera. So this is just a little bit of a branch that I was playing around with, and if I just putting no pressure on here whatsoever, so in fact, you know what, I'll hold it with just 2 fingers. Now, that's just slicing straight off with me just using 2 fingers. And these are some really fine shavings as well. If I actually put a little bit of pressure on here, you know, this is taking off. And bearing in mind, okay, this is green wood, so it will always cut better than sort of anything that's seasoned or dried. But you know, this cuts really well. You can get a really good hold on this handle, so you can get a good grip on there and actually take off some pretty decent size chunks. You know, so if you were going to turn this maybe into, I don't know, let's say a tent peg or something like that. Actually really quick, really efficient. Now, as I say, the knife itself, this is, let's see, so it's made in Taiwan, you know, as quite a lot of the cold steel products are, and to be honest, you know, I have no problem with that. It's performing really well for me at the moment, so I've got no issue with its performance whatsoever. The one bugbear I do have with it, and maybe this is because it's second hand, this is the only one I've ever owned or handled, but the lock on the back here, if I push it down, in fact it's actually worked first time, sod's law for camera, but I do find that you do sometimes really have to push down really hard to get that lock to break. Not a massive problem in and of itself, but you know, a couple of times I've gone to close it and a bit like this, so hopefully you can see that on the camera there. So the back is broken and it's just not moving. Now the worry is if I'm putting pressure down on here and I'm still putting pressure on the back and eventually I'll get it to break, I mean, that's pushed as far as it will go, and I think it's just a little bit of a small issue where sometimes it just doesn't disengage properly. But you know, as I say, for my purposes and the way I'm using it, it's not a huge problem. But if this is sort of fairly generic for the knife, I think people could, you know, there could be a chance of maybe sort of slipping and sort of cutting into your finger if you're not paying attention. But all in all, you know, I really like this knife. You know, it's going to be a great little carver, something that I can stick in my pocket when I go bushcrafting, and it should cover most of my bases. You know, I'm not one for doing a great deal of heavy work with folding knives anyway, but if I'm just going out for a walk and I sort of, you know, pick up something I want to whittle or something like that, absolutely superb. I've actually been using it in a little bit of my carving in the workshop recently as well, just because it was in my pocket and I couldn't be bothered getting up and going and get one of my fixed blade knives, and it's been performing really well. So really, for me, you know, for something in that kind of, you know, £40 to £50 range, if you're paying brand new prices, you know, you could do a lot worse than buying one of these. You know, I'm a little bit on the fence when it comes to cold steel knives. I quite like their swords and some of their other products. Certainly their bigger knives I quite like, but the smaller stuff I've always been a little bit sceptical about. But with this particular blade style and the Scandinavian grind, you know, it really has blown me away. So anyway guys, just a really quick short review, but I hope it was useful. Any comments or questions you've got, throw them in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Thanks guys.